Hey everybody, Icy Cat here. Now that Operation Shifting Tides is here, we're going to take an in-depth look at the newest attacking operator, Kali. Figure out all the ins and outs of her powerful new sniper rifle, her special gadget, and how best to use her strengths and weaknesses in the field. Shifting Tide's newest attacking operator is Kali. She uses a high-powered sniper rifle and an underbarrel launcher that takes out enemy equipment, combining features of Thatcher and Glaz plus some tricks of her own into a new package. She's a 2-speed, 2-armor operator, but handles like a 1-speed. We'll get to that in a minute though. Let's take a look at her loadout. Like Glaz, she only has a single primary weapon choice with the CSRX 300. It does a whopping 97 damage, but has a slow rate of fire due to its bolt-action design. There's 5 rounds in the magazine before you have to reload. You cannot put any attachments on her rifle. For sidearms, she's got either the P226 with 50 damage and a 15-round magazine, or the C75 auto machine pistol with lower 35 damage, but 26 for ammo capacity and an insane 1000 rate of fire for this pocket automatic. Either choice is fine, though most players seem to gravitate toward the C75 due to rate of fire option it brings to the table in contrast with her slow firing primary. Secondary gadgets are a choice between breaching charges or claymores. In most situations, Kali will get more utility out of her claymore as her rifle already knocks holes in soft breach surfaces quite easily, but take whatever fits your playstyle. Like Caveira, Kali's weapon is an alternate special ability as much as her intended primary special ability, so we'll start there. Most people will call this a sniper rifle, but it fills the role of what's known as an anti-material rifle in that it does considerable environmental damage as well as high player damage. When firing into soft breach surfaces, it leaves a hole a little smaller than a shotgun hole, maybe more in line with Alibi or Maestro's pocket shotgun revolver. But where that has limited range and power, Kali's rifle just keeps going and going, knocking holes through consecutive soft surfaces as well as anything in the way, like players. As you can see in this example, we're having Wamai stand behind this wall, and we'll take him down after the shot travels through a couple of walls. It isn't just walls and players that you can wreak havoc on. She can destroy all wooden barricades with a single shot and pop open hatches with a single shot as well. Environmental damage is very high with this rifle, and you'll be able to open sight lines, or in the case of hatches, rotations, very quickly and easily. This is why her breaching charges wouldn't typically get much utility play. There's just not much need for them in many cases. The only time the rifle is inferior to the breaching charge is if you need to make an entryway through a wall. Her rounds will not break the support beams behind the walls, even on direct impact. Her scope is a specialized optic and can toggle between 6 times magnification and 12 times magnification. You'll also want to pay attention to the on-screen reticle so you know which mode you're in, as each mode uses a different one. You can also tell by looking at the ammo indicator at the bottom of the screen. This is a gun you're never going to want to hip fire at an enemy. The spread on the reticle shows a large area where the bullet will randomly go. You're not going to hit anything this way unless it's on accident. If you're moving, the problem only gets worse as the reticle spreads out further. Another limitation you have is on her speed. Remember when we said in the beginning she's a 2-speed operator? Well, not when she actually has that giant rifle out, she isn't. In that case, she moves at the same speed as a 1-speed operator. If you need to cover distances quickly, switch to your sidearm for proper 2-speed movement. This can be especially useful for displacing after taking a shot. For those wondering, yes, we now have a second sniper that can fire through the windows on airplane. This can be particularly nasty if you have both a Glaz and a Kali on the wing at the same time. Her weapon is an automatic one-shot DBNO to the chest, even at full health. The operator will always spin in the direction Kali's shot came from when they go down so they can see where the bullet trail originated, even without a kill cam. The armor type doesn't matter. Even a 3-armor Rook wearing his armor plates still gets one shot downed at full health. Taking that a step further, a 3-armor operator with Rook plates and full overcharge health from Doc will still get one shot downed. This can even punch through multiple operators if they line up just right. Since this footage is from a custom match, it resulted in death as we both would have been downed at the same time with no one to revive us. But on a full team in a regular match, both characters would be DBNO in a situation like this. Theoretically, you could chest shot an entire 5-man team and down them all with a single shot, though the odds against that actually lining up just right in a live game are more than a little unlikely, but still technically possible. One interesting use of Kali is to actually cause the shield flinch animation in Clash. This can be useful to work with other teammates in opening up that vulnerability for a quick second that they can take advantage of. Unfortunately, Kali's a little too slow to cycle her bolt action to land the follow-up shot before the shield is back in place again. Well, almost. It's an ideal condition, but if you aim at the furthest point away from her flinch animation, which would be her lower left foot, it is possible to just barely land that shot before the shield comes back into position. But she would have to be holding virtually still for this to work. That foot is going to be really hard to hit if she's moving around. While the rifle is great for penetrating all soft breach surfaces, it will not punch through bulletproof surfaces with the exception of the airplane windows. As you can see here, we can fire at this reinforcement panel all day, and it won't do a thing. Her standard rounds will not punch through deployable shields, mirror windows, or castle barricades either. A few well-placed rounds against Tachanka's shield will break, but it's not like it goes through in one shot or anything. You'll need to whittle it down, same as anyone else. Even Maestro's turrets still remain bulletproof while the door is sealed shut. To do any damage here, you're going to need to switch over to Kali's special underbarrel launcher to destroy it. The explosive lance is meant as a Thatcher alternative for taking out gadgets, but rather than doing it by means of EMP discharge, it does it through explosive detonation. The lance burrows into a wall and with a micro-shape charge detonates on the other side, taking out anything in its area of effect that would be disabled by an explosion. It has an advantage over Thatcher in that non-electronic gadgets are also affected. While it does leave a small hole behind if the lance is used on a soft breach surface, on reinforced surfaces, it only leaves this mark behind that cannot be seen or shot through after it detonates. You can actually spare some of your devices from being affected by making sure you space the devices out as much as possible. The point of impact is about the width of one standard size reinforcement panel and half as high, so if the distance between objects is further, it won't get them all. This is where Thatcher has the advantage over Kali. Where Kali may be able to hit non-electronic devices that Thatcher can't, he still has a substantially greater area of effect. As seen here, his EMP grenades can clear this entire 3-panel wide garage door of the mute jammer protecting the 2 panels on one side and the Kaid claw way over in the upper corner on the 3rd panel. When Kali tries the same thing, she can only affect one of the gadgets, but not the other. Resetting this attempt to take out the claw just leaves the mute jammer unaffected. Her range is significantly smaller per use than Thatcher. However, another advantage to Kali is that because her damage is explosive based, it will destroy rather than disable devices like some of Thatcher's effects. As you can see here, taking out non-electronic devices like a deployable shield and a frost mat on either side is going to be no problem at all. So how do you stop her from doing this? Well, the lance is considered a projectile, so Jaeger ADS devices will shoot it down. Please note this only works against her lance. While it may look like it's stopping her bullets, the rifle is currently firing its lance launcher, not standard rounds. Jaeger does nothing to those. Of course, that also means our new defender Wamai will work in preventing those lances from reaching target too, since he's a Jaeger alternative. Since his devices are small and easily concealable in unexpected places outside of the objective, he's probably an even better counter than Jaeger in general for this. What about mute jammers? Will they do anything to stop the micro-shaped charge from detonating? Sadly, no. There's no significant electronics to jam in the device, so mute jammers are not a counter. Kaid will have a similar problem as the bandit batteries we were showing earlier. The lance is resistant to electrical damage, so burrowing into an electrified surface is not a problem at all for Kali to deal with. Now, we talked about deployable shields being bulletproof against her standard rounds earlier, but they don't hold up so well against her lance launcher and will be taken out pretty easily. Obviously, the same would hold true for Goyo's Vulcan shields, albeit with a little more spectacular result when all's said and done. Castle barricades are another material Kali's rifle cannot fire through or make holes in with her standard rounds, but one shot from the lance launcher will burrow in and explode it. Now, it should be noted that you cannot destroy the lance from the inside. The hardened micro-shaped charge tip is too strong for that. If a defender manages to hit it from the other side, though, it's an easy single shot to destroy it if you're fast enough to take it out before it actually goes off. Even on a soft surface, it won't leave a hole behind as long as it was destroyed before it actually exploded. How about mirror windows? We already know it's impervious to her standard rounds, but will the lance do anything here? Not really. I was a little surprised as I thought the explosion might rupture the canister, but even after multiple attempts, all well within the lance's area of effect, the canister was never ruptured. So that's how she stacks up against defenders, but how about working with her fellow attackers? There's definitely some strong pairings to be had here too. Of course, pairing up with Glaz can give you a double down on sniping potential, but the effectiveness of this will really depend on the map. Given her role as a semi-Thatcher alternative, she'll also obviously pair up well with Hibana and Thermite. Between Mute, Bandit, and Kaid, taking out those counters to allow the hard breach to go down is going to be very useful. Now on defense, it is possible to still pick up your defensive devices before the detonation goes off if you're close enough and fast enough when you hear the device begin to burrow in. Another interesting combination is Kali and IQ. While you can take an educated guess where a Mute Jammer or Bandit battery is, a Kaid Claw could be anywhere. IQ can also pass along info to Kali to get the tightest grouping of affected devices, like if 2 Bandit batteries are clustered together but the third is too spread out. She can tell you where you can hit for the most impact. Another useful one is to pair up with Monty. Kali is very slow while using the rifle, and at 6 or especially 12 times magnification, she's going to suffer from a bit of tunnel vision. Plus, her follow-up shots are slow and leave her vulnerable in between. Having a mobile cover point in otherwise exposed areas is definitely going to be useful. Her insane environmental damage will allow for some very creative setups for holding angles you may not have had available before as you open up multiple soft surfaces with a single shot. Plus, it's really beneficial to the team too. You can open up sightlines for other attackers to use while keeping a safe distance, or create easy rotations through hatches even if you don't use them yourself. You can open an entire exterior wall of barricaded windows and doors from far away to get your team in fast with just a single shot for each one you want opened. There's lots of creative setups here on the environmental damage alone. Kali is someone who's not going to be the biggest fragger in most situations. Her speed reduction with the rifle and extremely magnified vision is intended to hold angles and cut pathways off or keep people pinned down. Pushing aggressively with her is best done with a combination of intel and displacing after shooting, or holding strong angles and lining up the shots. Alternatively, you can go more CQB with her machine pistol secondary and gain some much needed movement speed at the expense of accuracy and the need for frequent reloads on its high rate of fire. That wraps up our operator profile for Kali. Tomorrow we'll be taking an in-depth look at Shifting Tide's newest defender, Wamai. Later on, we'll also be going in-depth with tips and tricks for the new map rework for Theme Park. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to make sure you're up to date on all the latest news and information. You can also follow me over at IcyCat25 on either Twitter or Facebook. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next time. We'll see you next time.